Jett is easily the most iconic agent in Valorant, with one of the flashiest toolkits in the entire game, as well as one of the few agents you start out with. It's no wonder players gravitate towards her. Now in this video, we're going to be highlighting what makes this Duelist so broken and how we can maximize her kit to the absolute fullest. By the time you're finished watching, you should have everything you need to master Jett and start climbing the ranks. So without a doubt, Tailwind is Jett's bread and butter when it comes to practically any scenario that she is in. This util alone is what makes Jett a speedy Gonzalez on the battlefield, dashing in and out of trouble anytime it happens. One moment she peeks and gets a pick, and on the next she is gone like the wind. Tailwind is an easy get-out-of-jail-free card whenever you peek and force fights, providing a safe escape mechanism for you. It's also what you depend on to swiftly take space when executing a site push with your team. Now, since Tailwind is mostly used in unison with your other utilities, it's going to be crucial to make a short mental map on what you're planning to do for the next few seconds. Here's some example scenarios for you. Number 1, for attacking, where do I want to end up to take gunfights after creating space? Number 2, which direction do I dash into after peeking and attempting to pick someone off? Number 3, for an aggressive playstyle, do I dash forward to get the jump on the next agent after getting a pick? Well, it's best to exercise your mental mapping in order to play more comfortably with Jett. In time, this is going to become muscle memory, and your thought process is going to become more in sync with your actual movement. Now, there are so many more scenarios where the usage of Tailwind really matters most, but as you continue practicing, you're going to be able to utilize your dash much better and more accordingly. Just be mindful of the utility's pop-up timer since it doesn't necessarily activate immediately, and keep an eye on the duration of Tailwind. You wouldn't want to end up peeking a risky angle only to find out that your dash's timer is going to run out. Cloudburst is what makes Jett somewhat self-sufficient when it comes to isolating fights and denying space. You could think of it as like a mini controller feature in a fast-paced Duelist, which allows for a variety of plays that we're going to talk about here. Cloudburst versatility is absolutely unparalleled due to how you can easily control and deploy it. Although we definitely do have to admit that it does need some practice to be able to pinpoint where the smoke lands, but once you master that, your life as Jett is going to be an absolute breeze. Now, the obvious use of Cloudburst is to have a makeshift smoke that denies space from common choke points, allowing you to push forward or isolate fights. However, you can also use it as an impromptu one-way to give you an advantage in duels. Just make sure to aim it against a surface high enough to only reveal the enemy's legs. Jett's Cloudburst also works great with a synchronized push or sight take with the team. For example, a usual play you can see from casual ranked games, and even in the pro scene, is when a Jett dashes to sight with a Cloudburst active on where they end up, while simultaneously having a teammate flash out of the smoke for them. It's a classic and common play, but it works almost every single time with proper execution. If you're also in a tight spot and caught unprepared for a duel, you could try looking down and activating your Cloudburst for a quick cover that could potentially save your neck from getting picked off. This could absolutely be really good to build up the habit of doing after landing kills in the open if your dash isn't available. It definitely does take a little bit of skill though, so hop on a custom game with your friends and practice that Cloudburst bending to be the next best airbender. Now, one of the most important things when playing Jett is you gotta have the confidence to win those duels. If you're just sitting in the back line and baiting your team the whole dang time, you might find it hard to rank up. Jett players are oftentimes some of the best fighters on the team, and you've got to be able to aim. And, well, if you're struggling with the shooting part, well, we've got you covered there. Over at SkillCapped, our Aim God Masterclass, it's designed to take you from noob to pro in as little as a few weeks. Our expert coaches have literally designed these courses to be stupid easy to follow to get any one of you climbing. And we're so confident, in fact, that we guarantee you're going to gain 500 RR, or we're just going to give you your money back. Now, if you're wondering where that would place you, just go over to our website at SkillCapped to check out our free rank calculator to figure out where you could be in a few weeks' time. And other than that, let's get into the next utility. Moving on to Jett's Updraft. Now, this utility is what can take a true Jett main to absolute greater heights, both literally and figuratively. Now, simply put, it allows you to boost yourself high to get into off angles and spots in the map that are usually unreachable without using a utility. But you can also use it in combination with your Tailwind for a swift and massive space taking during side executes. For instance, the combination of Tailwind, Cloudburst, and Updraft allows you to do plays like this on a Sent B site. You might have seen this a couple of times from a bunch of VCT plays, and trust me when I say it works wonders for you and your team. Of course, practice does always make perfect though, and Jett isn't a one-trick pony kind of duelist. Combining Updraft, Cloudburst, and Tailwind equates to numerous plays and possibilities, especially when paired with your teammates' utilities. And as a quick pro tip here, remember to jump first before activating your Tailwind and Updraft. Now, while this little mechanic may not seem so substantial, it actually helps you get a bit more height into your updrafts and dashes to get better positioning. Now, once you've got the fundamentals of Jett down, don't be afraid to experiment and mix things up here. Playing Jett isn't only about speed, but it's also about being unpredictable. For instance, you can try playing a few rounds using shotguns even when playing attacking. Now, this is made possible by the consistent aerial movement Jett has with her utilities. And even though you're generally not going to be accurate with guns while mid-air, shotguns still have a great chance of hitting their mark as long as you're able to close the gap. Just remember to keep constant comms open with your team to help get everyone on the same page when executing a specific play. A Jett that can dash into sight and get picks with ease due to the supporting utilities of her teammates is going to be a true force to be reckoned with. Finally, we have Jett's go-to for eco rounds or a potential ace clutch clip. We have the Bladestorm. Think of it as a fully accurate one headshot, one kill utility that refreshes every time you pick someone off with it in a round. Since all it takes is a single shot to the head, this utility is more than capable of turning the tides on the fully equipped enemy team despite the gun diff. Oh, and when we say fully accurate, we mean 100%. Even as you move across the battlefield, you're going to find no movement error in Jett's Bladestorm, so long as your crosshair is right where it should be. That's why it's best to combine the ult with Jett's other utilities together with constant movement as you ninja your way throughout the round. I recommend practicing hitting your shots in the range while updrafting or gliding to get used to the mechanics. Think of Jett as a less chaotic Genji, focusing on kunai knives, dashes, and airtime. Now, if you're caught in a situation where you're up close and personal with an enemy, you can also right-click to shoot all 5 or remaining knives in a shotgun-like manner. Now, of course, in this manner of usage, we're going to have to diminish the accurate part, since the Bladestorm's right-click is going to be purely RNG. Nevertheless, though, it's a welcome variation that comes in handy for certain situations. Do take note that it's only recommended to use the right-click for close encounters. Otherwise, you're going to have little to no value with your Bladestorm. Now that we've seen the Jett fundamentals for playing this daredevil duelist, it's time to see the silver-haired menace in action. And what better way to analyze pro players playing Jett in ranked games than introducing our first entry of Demon 1 from Energy. Demon 1 played a nasty Jett back in 2023 where he won Valorant Champions with his former team, Evil Geniuses. Now, despite playing a flexi role for Energy, he still proves why he's one of the best Jett players around.
Oh, I got my whole computer optimized, overclocked, tuned, everything. That took 8 hours.
Split market fast. Come down. Let's go.
Where's the second smoke?
Up down on side. There's one more backside. Sniper backside.
No charges left. One enemy remaining.
No, 100 minus 100.
At the start of the round, we can see a fast B execute from mid through market. Demon 1 immediately pops his ult to complement the rush game plan. His team tries to enter through market with Gecko's Dizzy, but it quickly gets destroyed. And while it didn't flash anyone at all, that's still info gathered based on where the bullet tracer came from. Demon 1 tries to capitalize quickly on this by dashing and updrafting simultaneously, but the enemy's already repositioned. Nevertheless, though, space has been taken, giving them a slight advantage in taking site. A little bit of a miscomm occurred as Demon 1 expected his teammate Clove to smoke the stairs, and as a result, he kept guarding that angle. Gecko and ISO fall victim to the Clove on sight, but luckily Demon 1 gets to pick off the opping Neon to lessen the numbers disadvantage here. He then turns his attention towards the site and does a jump spot while gliding, allowing him to take down Clove. The enemy Clove pops their ult, but Demon 1 remains unfazed as he activates his dash and peeks towards back site, eliminating Cypher. As soon as Clove emerges from the ult, he dashes forward to catch him with their guard down, and his teammate Clove gets the pick on ISO, but the enemy Sova trades it out instantly. Unfortunately, Demon 1 whiffs the rest of his knives, but not before lowering Sova to 50 HP. And since Cypher was holding mid, the trade didn't come instantly. At this point, there is a bit of visible frustration from Demon 1 given how much he did to win the round. Now, if you're a Jett main or have played with top fragging Jetts before, the phrase, "what more do I have to do?" probably rings a bell with you, but the ends justify the means as Cypher successfully picks off the Sova, winning the chaotic round. Without Demon 1's quick thinking and reflexes here, things really just might have gone south the rest of that round. Next up, we have one of the W gaming kings from Paper Rex, Forsaken. And as I say that, you might already have an idea on how this Jett clip is going to turn out if you're a Paper Rex fan. Now, we all know this team has no shortage of aggressive and unorthodox plays, and surely Forsaken is no exception with a Jett. At the beginning of the round, we can see that his team is down by 7 points. Now, with that much lead, there's no better time than to cook up an aggressive push to try and shift that momentum.
Shooting mid.
Your fault, my ult.
Milling. Two milling. One more.
Spike down mid. No charges left. One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Flawless.
And that's exactly just what Forsaken had in mind. As soon as the barrier drops, he pushes toward the left of B main. Now take note that this is a force buy and he doesn't have any other util except for Tailwind. Thankfully, the strat paid off after a lone KJ gets caught by surprise and picked off instantly. Forsaken was able to capitalize on Vice's textbook bait on the entrance of B main, eliminating the enemy's only sentinel. Since he picked off a lone KJ instead of Jett or Reyna, he likely got the read on the enemy's 1-3-1 default play. Now, as a result, he decides to dash forward to potentially catch the enemies peeking mid from tiles, and in true spray and pray fashion, he was able to eliminate the bamboozled Clove and Sova, despite the numbers advantage. Now, while it's often not recommended to spray with a Vandal, we can see how Forsaken's crosshair placement and spray control were really on point here. This is what ultimately allowed him to even the odds. Now, for the final target, it's clear that the enemy Jett is in a tight spot, revealed and cornered in tiles. Again, Forsaken dashes forward to aggress and close the gap since he knows the Jett has an outlaw. At this point, it does get a little bit messy as the enemy Jett cloudbursts himself to change guns, while Forsaken spams the smoke. Even though the enemy was able to pick up a Vandal, Forsaken's up-close right-click with the classic is really what won the duel and the round. Now, do take note that even if Forsaken was taking all sorts of risks in this round, they were really all calculated risks. Even if he loses the duel, his teammates were already close enough for the pinch and the trade. And this is a prime example of what Jett can do aggressively with his utils, even without the support of teammate utilities. Now, that being said, don't be afraid to get all crazy and up in their faces from time to time, especially if you're confident and you're really feeling it. You never really know how much it can shift the momentum towards your team despite having a little bit of a high deficit. Last, but definitely not least, we have the king of Sentinels himself, TenZ. Long ago, in his early prime, we often see him dominating both in the pro and ranked scene as Jett. And while he played a flexi role in this year's season, plus recently retired, he proves to us that he still plays a menacing Jett. Now, right off the bat, we see that TenZ's team is at an early minor deficit with 0 out of 3 rounds won. He starts the round by holding the Sage wall boost angle from mid-bottom with an operator. As soon as he hears Fast A from his teammates, TenZ decides to immediately rotate from mid. Oftentimes, you hold the angle a little bit more in case there's a lurk, but in TenZ's situation, he needs an early rotate since he's using an op. And we all know how hard it can really be to retake with this weapon. Now, what's good and consistent about TenZ is that he's really always efficient with his comms.
One down.
Cypher
Blocking
low. Can
sight.
you go for a heal?
Upper one.
Us too.
Top, I think he's on top. I'm almost sure he's on top.
Oh, he planted.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Blocking sight.
Close to me.
Nice.
Giving the team an idea of what he plans to do or what he is about to do. Here, he does do a semi-risky play of hiding in the smoke with an op, just trying to hold elbow if anyone peeks out. Luckily, he's using Jett, so he can easily escape with dash in case things get a little bit topsy-turvy. And with great timing here, he activates his dash just before peeking out of the smoke and picks off the Jett just seconds after peeking out. Instantly, right after that kill, he dashes out backwards to get cover and reposition. You can clearly see here how he's quick on his feet and decision-making as he immediately decides to reposition on top of the box with an updraft. What this does is it allowed him to spot the Omen from elbow, and since he's not ready to take that fight, he can easily hide off of the info that he gathered. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the kill and takes a bit of damage from the engagement. Nevertheless, he survives and drops down to rethink his next action. Here is a prime example of advanced Cloudburst usage. He jumps and throws his smoke, maneuvering it towards elbow to block the Omen's vision. Thanks to Zelsis being able to tag Sage with his haunt, TenZ lands a pretty dang nasty shot on the Sage that's trying to jump away for his life. Now, in true fashion of TenZ proactivity, he quickly repositions toward A Link for a different path in the retake. As the enemy plants the spike, we can see TenZ activating his dash again in case he engages in duel and needs a safety net escape. He spots the Cypher in elbow, and although TenZ was almost sprayed down, all it took was one shot from his op to win the fight. Now at this point, they know that Omen is on site since he planted the spike. Just watch carefully how he approaches this while inside the smoke. Since he has an op, he pings the spot on his minimap first to help him pre-aim the angle. Yes, Omen wasn't there, but imagine if he was. Then TenZ might have actually gotten him despite the disadvantage. TenZ then decides to quick peek the spike to gather info and potentially bait a contact from the Omen so his teammate can get the trade. Because of that, Omen's positioning gets revealed, and as a result of his body slightly protruding towards the smoke, TenZ gets a quick scope on him for a massive 4K. And after a play like that, it's really hard not to get hyped and gain that momentum for the coming rounds thanks to TenZ's masterful play with an op on Jett. Seeing how harmoniously the combo works makes me believe that Jett with an operator is as inseparable as Bonnie is to Clyde. All right, though, guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little bit more about SkillCapped. So we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and we think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's kind of like a gym membership guaranteeing you that you're gonna get ripped. Your local gym would probably go bust if they offered you that. But not us, because we've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium Valorant guides on the internet. We add new courses every month with over 1,000 guides curated into over 50 courses. No one can compare. We also have a direct line of communication with subscribers in our Discord so that you can get connected immediately to some of the best players in the game who will respond to every question you ask. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you're serious about improving your game. So that's going to be all for this one today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.